Hello and welcome to Retrotainment. Back here with my co-host, Capital C, Capital O, Greg. How are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
Nothing much, nothing much. We were going to be doing 90s films, but after watching Hook last week, the two of us got into a bit of a Robin Williams buzz, and we're like,
Sad
maybe we'll
times, aren't
just maybe we'll just stick with Robin Williams films. We'll stick with the 90s, but they're all going to be Robin Williams films this month now.
the goat of the 90s.
Yeah, one of the top dogs in terms of memorability, maybe not in terms of acting ability, but
Oh, his acting ability is very good as well.
it is very good. But when you're talking of the top actors of the 90s, you're
yeah, no,
probably not going to put him up there in that sense. But
De Niro, Pacino, things like that. I know they were 70s, 80s, 90s.
yeah, but like like even DiCaprio and stuff would be up there ahead of him probably.
Yeah, probably coming into the late 90s.
Yeah, I think he probably would be. But there's no one from the 90s that doesn't remember Robin Williams
No.
as an actor. You have to have seen some of his films.
And if you say you don't, I'm going to call you a blatant liar.
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever met someone who's like, I don't like any of his films. Maybe like sometimes I can see people being like, I don't really like that one or this one, like
No,
depending on the type of film. But
I know my ma hates Mrs. Doubtfire. Hates it.
yeah, but I can see people disliking a film. But overall, I think everyone has a positive memory of his films.
Yeah, like I know we done Hook last week. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But like I remember watching that with her growing up, and it's just
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot of love for Mrs. Doubtfire. It's not one of the highest on the list for me in terms of Robin Williams films, whereas lots of people have it right up there. But it's probably a mid-tier one for me.
it's a very creepy movie.
Yeah, it is in its own way, but we'll
Um,
keep that one for another episode. This week we are looking at the original Jumanji.
the only Jumanji.
No, well, the new ones are good. To be fair, I actually quite like these new ones.
I liked the first one of the two with The Rock and Kevin Hart, and Jack Black. Second one I found just to be rehashed again.
It was a bit rehashed, but I liked the
humor in it's good.
I liked bringing Danny DeVito and stuff into it. That's always
anything with Danny DeVito is
yeah.
gold.
You've sold me when you get Danny DeVito in.
Rory McCallum's very good in it as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it was I think that was quite good. It's not as good as the first, but
no.
I like what they did with it. They can it is a continuation of this film, so it wasn't a remake. Obviously, they go and make it's in a video game and stuff. Which
I think The Rock had a big part in that, didn't he? He didn't want to remake when they were originally meant to do it. It was supposed to be.
I don't think you can remake this because, as always, it's the same as obviously Aladdin, where Will Smith had to fill in for Robin Williams as the genie, and
he done an all right job. To be fair, a lot of people gave him shit.
That's the thing. He did fine. Like in its own little bubble, he actually does very well in it. It's just you're being compared to Robin Williams. It's a tough.
No, don't get me wrong. I was one of those people that gave him shit for it. And then I watched it again, and I was like, it's pretty all right. Like
it's natural because you think back to Robin Williams as the genie, and you're like, no, he's not as good. But the thing is,
Robin Williams was just a voice in that.
Well, the part was written for Robin Williams, so when they were writing it, they had him in mind. So, but anyway, this film released on the 16th of February 96. Ratings wise, 38 critics have it as 55%, which is quite low.
I'm not surprised with that.
Yeah, even the audience score isn't overly high on this. It's only 62%.
Oh, that one I am surprised with.
I was a little surprised at that, but I can see why. There is some bits in it where you're just like, yeah, it's a bit, like it's very, zany and just like, oh yeah, like this just works out.
The mosquitoes and things, and then the monkeys and things.
Yeah, and things like Van Pelt, like when they crash into the shop in the car, he's down for hours, but then he just knows exactly where to find them and stuff. Like he's
a master hunter.
He is, but he's also not in his element either.
It's true. So like you can't track something that doesn't make tracks on a concrete road.
Yeah, exactly. There is things that I could see why it would get marked down. I always still have a lot of love for this film.
Oh, I still do. I only watched it. I was only watching it tonight before we came on.
Yeah. Box office wise, it was a big hit, 262.8 million. As we said, this is Robin Williams at his pinnacle, really.
Yeah, in and around these 5 or 6 years.
This kind of 5 to 10 year period, yeah.
He was gold, wasn't he?
A couple of years before this, and then up to about 10 years after. Yeah, like just he was hitting them out of the park. There's a few bad ones in there, but overall, like it didn't matter if it was bad. It still made money because people went to see it because he was in it.
Yeah, like there's a part of his career there coming to the end of this where he done 1 hour photo on Insomnia.
Yeah,
kind of reminds me of. Do you remember the movie from What Lies Beneath with Harrison Ford?
Yeah,
it was the ultimate flip of a good guy to a bad guy.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow. And I was like,
yeah, it's not something you've seen too often from Robin Williams, him being the bad guy, was it?
No, and he done it very well too.
That's the thing, as you said, like in terms of acting, he is very good. Just in comparison to others, he's a comedic actor. He can do the serious roles, but his main forte is obviously comedy because he's a comedian.
He gave a lot of people, including myself, a lot of laughs over the years.
Yeah, he did. And we won't get too much into it, but obviously, I think for a lot of people, his death helped a lot of people understand things like depression and things like that, because they'd have been like, well, you know, he has everything, so what could he be, you know, sad about? And you're like, that's the thing. It's
it was
material possessions. I know he had a serious illness. He had a serious medical issue, yeah, but it just shows that, you know, it's not as simple as some people thought. So
I remember sitting in my bed.
It was a rough time hearing about it, all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was sitting in my bed and I couldn't sleep, and I was watching. I usually put on the American news because I could get it on one of the channels, and it was like breaking. I was nearly asleep. It was like breaking news, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
my mic." And it's like, legendary actor Robin Williams has passed away, and I was like,
did not want to know that.
Wish I had to turn off the TV now.
Yeah, no, it was a bad time for everybody, I think. And I think, as we said earlier, like early 90s, everyone from the 90s really knew who he was and has fond memories of him. So that's why we were like, we'll continue on with looking at his
once we hit the first one. Yeah, once we hit the first one.
Yeah, once the first one started, we couldn't stop. Obviously, I love the way this starts, though. It starts in 1869. And I'd kind of forgotten this. It starts in 1869 with two boys out in the dark, and they're just like,
quick, horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah. And they're like, bury it, and you can hear the drums, and you're like, whoa, I'd kind of forgotten about this.
Yeah.
And then it gets, you know,
goes to, well, what's supposed to be modern day.
Well, it goes 100 years, 100 years later, which is when we see Alan cycling around in 1969.
Yeah, and which is supposed to be modern day when this film starts. Then
yeah, it's the modern day when the film starts. But what I love about this is that he's cycling around, and like it's you know, that old timey thing of everyone knows each other, and obviously his family are well known because they're the like parish shoes and stuff. But everyone knows him. They're like, oh, hi, Alan.
Didn't the granddad set the town up, or was it the great granddad? Because Joe, the statue outside.
The statue of him is there, yeah. But like, I just love that, you know, everyone's like, oh, hi, Alan, and they all know him as he's going along.
So and that immediately tells you he's the weird kid.
Yeah, they kind of set out that he's not particularly weird, but just, you know, he's obviously the rich kid, so there's going to be animosity towards him.
Yeah, he's kind of the loner kid, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's when we do see him get chased down on his bike by this group of like 5 or 6 lads. What I like here is that he has a normal cycling bike, but they all have the ones with like the loop on the back and the flag coming up. Like that was the cool bike of the 60s, you know.
The gangster ones.
Yeah, they were the gangster bikes of the 60s. You're like, oh yeah, that's why he doesn't have one. But he obviously goes to his dad's shop.
He goes full pelt.
Yeah, he gets to his dad's shop, and or into the factory. And I love he goes in here and we meet Carl for the first time.
The soul man.
The soul man, which I love because he's the soul man, which is obviously soul music and stuff. And you're talking,
he makes the soles of the shoes.
He makes soles of shoes as well. Yeah, I love that joke. That they like. It's such a small little joke as well.
And it goes easily over people's head.
Yeah, it does. And then obviously, you know, he gets fired because
he shows him the runner.
Well, he shows Alan the runner. Then Alan puts it on the conveyor belt, and Carl takes the rap for it.
Yeah, you have to wonder why that conveyor belt does. It must just cut up leather or something.
Yeah, it must.
As to why it couldn't cut that shoe up, I don't know.
Well, it did cut it up. It was in ribbons, like.
No, yeah, but the machine stops.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably used to cutting flat things rather than, you know, a fully shaped shoe. The one thing I do like here is just obviously, you know, you're talking late 1960s to early 70s, so it kind of, you know, it would have been tough for a coloured man to get a job at that time. So like
Yeah.
it's a really big deal that Carl
Had that job.
that he takes the rap for this as well.
Did you notice that what he says to Alan? He says, these are going to be the next big thing. If we could get Wilf Chamberlain to wear a pair of these,
Yeah,
you'd want to make them in about a size 40, pal.
yeah. They're a bit small, those ones now.
He a big man.
But Alan goes outside and he gets beaten up by these.
I love this where the dad's like, is he out? Are they out there, buddy? He just stand up to them. He just stood there. Stood there like a dope.
And just gets the head punched off him. And then they steal his bike.
Yeah, they were like, what a tick.
Yeah. But they steal his bike and then he hears the drums.
Yeah.
And he goes and finds the game buried in like.
As to how those builders let him in there or just didn't even notice him walking in. Like,
it was a different time, I suppose. They were just kind of like,
where's the health and safety, lads?
Yeah. Well, it was the 60s, Craig. There was no health and safety.
Yeah,
but,
true.
He gets the game and he goes back home, and obviously he's at home and he hides the game under the sofa, and he gets into a bit of an argument with the parents because
they're sending him to boarding school.
They're going to send him to boarding school, and he doesn't want to go, and he gets into the big fight with the dad, and he's like, "I'm never speaking to you again," which is just it's typical teenager shite. Like,
he plays a dickhead and everything.
Yeah, and he's a real dickhead in this because at the start you're just like. He comes in, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was more. I thought it was just the one lad out there. I didn't realize there was a gang." And you're like, okay, fair enough. That's, he's telling his son to stand up for himself. Fair enough. But then he kind of goes off on him. He's like, "I don't want to go there." And he's like giving out to the wife and everything. He's like, "Shut up." You're like, Jesus, this lad needs to settle down here a bit.
Calm it down there, pal. But I wouldn't, if my kid came to me and says, "There's a guy outside that wants to kill me, and I just can't win that fight," I'm not going to send him outside.
No, I know you wouldn't, but you can see when he first
apologizes. See what he's trying to do.
When he first apologizes, he's like, you just need to go out there and stand up for yourself. And he's like, "I didn't realize there was a group." And you're like, okay, fair enough. You didn't realize, so maybe that's your mistake. But you see, he is a dickhead because he's like, "You are going to that school."
Because we all went. I hate that. I was only saying that to Zoe.
Yeah.
Says I hate that. So where they're like, "Oh well, I went here, and your granddad went here, and this person went here." Yeah, so fucking what?
You were all happy to go there. I don't want to go there. Let me just go to where I want to go.
Times change, pal.
Yeah, but obviously the parents leave to go to whatever.
Go to a party, Andy.
Yeah, whatever party, and he's giving a speech or something at it. So whatever it is, and Sarah knocks on the door as he's about to leave, and she can hear the drums of the game.
What is that?
Yeah, he invites her in. He's like, "Right, let's play a quick game." So he's showing it to her, and the characters just get sucked onto the board.
Yeah, I love that for like the 60s and how well this was done. Obviously made in the 90s. Like
it's so well done. And he's like, "Okay, you go first." She rolls, and we get the bats coming down the chimney.
Yes. Oh, I can't remember the rhyme for
the giant African bats.
Yeah, that don't exist in America.
Yeah, but
I love how this comes back into it later.
Yeah, it does. They don't just go past it. Yeah. And then he obviously rolls, and he gets in the jungle. You must wait until the dice roll a 5 or an 8.
Yeah. Did she? Oh no, she rolls a 7, doesn't she? The kid.
Yeah, she rolls a 7 first, but he gets sucked into the game, which obviously is going to freak out Sarah.
How cool did that look for the early 90s though? It
did look very good, but it freaks her out, and then these bats come swarming down the chimney, so she just baits out of there, and you're like, okay. That's I can see somebody running out of the house for that, and then it just pans
to be fair, bats are creepy as fuck,
especially those ones, and you're in a house where you're not expecting it, and
you've just seen a kid get sucked into a game.
Yeah, but it pans to 26 years later, and we see Judy and Peter with their what you expect is their mother at the start, and you learn quite quickly it's their aunt, that their parents had died in a skiing accident.
I love how she lies about it all the time.
Yeah, like that's the trauma that she's picked up, is that she's just a compulsive liar now, they were treasure hunters and we never saw them. Yeah. And Peter doesn't talk to anybody.
He hasn't talked to them since they died, he just talks.
Well, he talks to her all the time, but he just refuses to speak to anybody else.
Yeah.
So, they have their own ways of dealing with it, but they get the house cheap. And
on the chip.
Yeah, I love that they get in the removal guy because they hear something upstairs, and
they see it.
Yeah, well, they hear something upstairs, and Peter goes up and kind of he sees it and then runs out.
He disturbs the batch, yeah.
He runs out and then they go up and they're just like, right, let's just close the door and we'll call a removal guy.
Yeah.
And I
But,
love
like-
that he comes in and he's just explaining to them, yeah, like his dad killed him, probably chopped him up. Sure, he could be hidden 100 places here. Like, these are children, dude. Why are you saying this to these young
I
children?
literally said that to Zoe there. I was like, why would you even tell it? But like when they show him the bat, right? He's
Yeah.
like, it's this one. He's like, they're Africanized bats. A girl here said they seen these here about 26 years ago. Would that not ring any bells that a kid has come in and said he's seen this bat here?
Yeah. And he's all dismissed her, which is fair enough. But then this other kid 26 years later tells you, and you're just like, yeah, no, you're just like that up, mate.
Yeah, just
But
not a bat in sight.
yeah, they eventually find the game when they're meant to be going to school.
Yeah.
And they can hear the drums, which is how they find the game. You know, they keep hearing it and they go
I
up
love
eventually.
I love how Peter's pretending not to hear it. He's like, you did hear that, and he's like, hear what? He goes to walk and he just starts drumming. He's like,
Ugh.
Go.
But they go up and I love that they go up and they start playing, but the game is still being played.
yeah,
So
they're trying to move the two pieces, they won't move, and then the
Yeah.
other two come out and it's like, oh, it must be microchipped.
yeah, and they start playing, and Judy rolls first,
Yeah,
and she rolls a 7 or whatever, and they get this brings out the mosquitoes.
yeah, it's itch. Its itch is worse than its bite, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And she hits one of them out the window with the tennis racket.
And the other two go with it.
The other two just follow it out. So like you're in a pretty decent start. Then Peter rolls and he rolls double ones,
Yeah,
and we get the monkeys
yeah.
who are
What-
like a great part to this film. Like
Oh,
they're in
so
it very
lovely.
they're in it very sparingly, but what they do in it is so valuable. And you know that if this was made for the first time today, they'd have been a huge hit.
Oh,
and
they would have been
they'd
like
have
the
got
minions and all. Yeah.
they would have got their own spin-off show and everything,
I think this is the only one that tells you exactly what's coming out of the game, because it says in the better moves post haste that the monkeys will slow your expedition.
yeah, it tells you the actual thing.
Yeah. And then you hear the disturbance downstairs and the monkeys are going mental in the kitchen.
Throwing knives at them and everything. You're like,
And
all
then
right.
that monkey burns himself.
But he thinks it's really funny.
Yeah.
It
But like
bothered him.
that monkey looked fierce, evil, throwing the knives, didn't he?
Yeah, the evil monkey from Family Guy. That's him. But yeah, he obviously rolls again, and this time
Oh, no,
he
'cause
rolls
yeah, but this is where they notice it, in the second part of the game, the second
Yeah.
part of the board,
if you roll doubles,
you
y-
get
you
another
get-
go.
well, they already knew that if you roll doubles, you get another go. But they find out that the only way to end the game and
Is
go
to
back
finish
to the
the
way
game.
things were is to finish it, get to the end, call out Jumanji, and
Yeah.
you'll return to where you were. So he rolls a 5, and the next thing to come out is a big old lion.
This is he likes the way you taste, so you
Yeah.
better move post haste.
Taste, yeah, and they run away from the line, and obviously Alan gets out as
This
well.
this is terrifying though. Like as a kid, like when you see the lion, you see the tail drag along
The
the
shadows,
piano, and then the claw comes down. You're like, oh shit! And then when he comes out of the darkness, do you know
yeah,
what it always reminded me of? It was done kind of similar to. Do you remember the wolf in Neverending Story?
yes, yeah.
Exactly like that.
But he comes out, and then obviously Alan comes in to make the save.
I love this though, where he's like, ah,
Ah,
what? And then he was like, he's watching the line. He fires the knife at the ground, jumps up, hangs onto the thing. The line slides in,
into the master bedroom, and then
Just
just
close
stays
the door.
there.
just closes the door, and then two claws marks come out. They
Yeah.
got really close to his face too.
But then the line's kind of happy there once he's settled in. This is
It's got a nice
little,
all comfy bed.
nice little spot. Alan obviously realizes that he's now back in the real world, and he's like, "Which one of you has rolled a 5 or an 8?" She's like, "He did," and he chasing little Peter around.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh, I've been stuck in there for the last
What?
couple of years. Where are my parents? And you're like, they're gone.
Yeah, I
That's
love
like
this.
25 years ago, mate.
Yeah, he's running around. He's like, Mom, Dad, I'm home.
I love that he goes and shaves, but he's obviously never learned to shave. So like he has the
Well, he hasn't even shaved yet because he runs out, and it would meet Carl again.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he runs out. Well, he opens the kitchen and sees the monkeys as well.
No, the monkeys are gone.
They
The
ran out.
monkey, yeah, the monkeys go when Peter looks out just before he rolls the second one.
Does he?
Um,
The last one gets out when he opens
oh yeah,
the
he opens
freezer.
the fridge, yeah.
Yeah, the fridge freezer, and the little monkey runs out.
Yeah,
But yeah, he goes outside, and we bump into Carl.
the cop car is gonna knock him down. He jumps on the bonnet.
Yeah.
What year is it? It was brand new.
No. What year is it now? 1996.
Uh,
What? Yeah, it's 94. Is it? No, 95.
91.
It's 95
Yeah,
is what it is. And he's like, you've been. He's like, whoa.
yeah.
And he, the kids come out and they're like, come on now, back inside with you.
I love how he looks and he realizes the name.
Yeah.
And he's like, Carl Brewster, the soul man. But he doesn't say it. And then the monkeys get in the cop car. I was like,
what's wrong? Is he okay? Oh, he had a bang on the head, and then the car obviously drives off.
Well, the monkey
gun goes
shoots
off.
the shotgun, yeah.
Yeah, and then the car drives off. Poor Carl has to go chasing it.
You stay right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. Yeah, good luck to that.
Yeah.
But he goes in, he shaves himself off and all that, and they're like, "Come on."
Even still before then, though, like they go along and they go into the old Paris shoe shop, and he meets the homeless fella.
Oh, yeah, they do. No, is that not after he shaves?
No. He's still wearing his.
Oh, he is. Yeah, that's right. He runs into. They're running around trying to find everyone.
And I love this interaction he has with the homeless fella in the shoe shop.
Real generous fella.
Because he's like, he tells the dog to settle down, and he has a nice little setup in there now. He's dry, he's warm, and he's like, "Do you want some tea or whatever?" And he's like, "You're gonna freeze." He gives him clothes, like top drawer homeless fella there.
Real nice fella, yeah.
And he was like, "Do you ever see them around?" He's like, "Yeah, I see them over on Adams Street."
Yeah, and he goes down, and it's obviously
the graveyard.
The graveyard there. This is probably a bit where it gets marked down, because the parents you're kind of looking at, and you're like, how old are they meant to have been when he is like whatever 10 or 12 or whatever age he's meant to be?
Probably 40s.
I didn't pause it to see, but they died. He's been gone 26 years, but he was still only quite young.
They died in 91.
Yeah, but if you're thinking he's gone
26 years.
He's gone 26 years, how old were they in 1969 that they were gone by 91 sort of thing? I mean,
they're both gone within 3 months of each other.
Yeah, which is I don't think that's an issue, but you're kind of like, did they die in their like early 60s or like mid 60s or whatever, which maybe was a bit more common back then, but even by the 90s people were kind of living to 70 or 80. So
well, I'd say the way they look at, they don't say anything, but like the 3 months in between, you'd say one died of a broken heart, sort
of thing. Yeah, but that might be where some marking gets down, because you're like, how old are the parents meant to be or whatever, but yeah, he eventually, he realizes his parents are gone. He goes home, shaves terribly.
Oh, it's so bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like,
you have to ask why there was a razor in there
though. Yeah, well, it could have been just in the house,
possibly, but yeah, he shaves terribly, and they're like, we need you to finish the game, or we need to finish the game, and he's like, I'm not going to play, but I'll watch.
Yeah, I'm just not. No, I'm not doing that. No, get that thing away from me.
Yeah, I'm not playing. But they roll the dice and nothing happens. Rolling the dice, nothing happens, and they're just like, I think you need to play. He looks and he realizes those 2 chips are there. He's like, you're still playing the game I played all those years ago. And they're like, okay, your turn. And he's like,
not my turn.
Not my turn. Well, whose turn is it? Sarah's.
Sarah Whittle.
So they have to go find her. And this is when we see the mosquitoes out and about wrecking people in the cars.
It's just
people having
weird.
Like attacks and stuff, and they get into one of the cars, and it's like piercing the window and piercing the roof.
Even that's when they're on the way back from the graveyard.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like just how dangerous.
Just tie everything in.
But they go off and they find Sarah. They go to someone who can, a fortune teller.
I love how they knock the door and all, right? And she's barely opens the door as if she's afraid to come out now.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and it's like, it's me.
Yeah, you played a game 26 years ago, and the boy got sucked into it called Jumanji and stuff. So that he kind of kidnaps her a bit here.
But she collapses.
Yeah, and then he picks her up and carries her back to the house.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if that's okay.
That's probably
Um,
not going to be allowed. You're probably going to jail for
yeah,
that, pal.
but I like that when she wakes up, the first thing we see is her on the phone to the
Or
to
shrink.
her shrink, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm after putting in 2,000 hours to convince me that that game doesn't exist. Your dad killed you, and like all of that stuff that I thought happened, that wasn't real." And it just shows you how the power of this game, because obviously she plays one turn of it,
Oh yeah,
and it completely ruined her life. Like,
yeah. Well, to be fair, you're just saying a friend of yours gets sucked into a game. You get chased out of a house by African bats.
yeah,
Something's
um,
not right.
yeah. But he shows her the game, and she kind of freaks out again. And he's like, "You need to roll." And they give her the dice, and she's like, "Nope." And
I
I
love
love
rolling.
Alan's. It's the real childish thing. Okay, go on. I'll take the dice. And she goes to hand him. He moves his hand.
He just turns his hand, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Whoops.
looks like you're in.
Uh,
Uh, so this is it's so good. And this one we get the vines coming out,
yeah.
and they're like staking through the house, and
And it has
like
the blue.
Alan knows everything about them because he's been living in it, and he's like, just watch out for the yellow ones. The purple ones will shoot a thing at you that'll poison you, but watch out for the yellow ones. They eat you.
Yeah. And like you don't hear anything more. That's it.
And then it grabs grabs poor Peter, drags him under the carpet, under the sofa, under everything.
He's just getting wrecked.
Yeah, and then thank God there's that sword there for Peter to pick up,
Alan.
or sorry, for Alan to pick up and just
Yeah.
slice it down. Yeah, it's done very, very well.
Yeah, like you can tell it's paper mache now.
Yeah, but back then, yeah, it looks great.
But
Then obviously we get a few more roles. Obviously it's Peter's role next. And this is where we get Van Pelt.
Alan's rolling, isn't it?
Or sorry, it's Alan's role, and we get Van Pelt coming out here. And I love that Van Pelt comes out and he's just like, Peter already, or Alan already knows. He's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
He hunts for sport. All right, I'm getting out of here, so. And he does, like, he makes the quick escape.
Yeah, the bullet hits the wall as he's walking out.
Yeah, and then obviously Carl sees Van Pelt again.
The one thing I didn't like about this was to use the dad to play Van Pelt.
Yeah, but I think that was was done on purpose. Like the thing Alan feared was his dad.
Oh yeah, no,
So-
that's 100% the reason. It's the manifestation of
His dad's anger and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I just didn't like it.
yeah. It's I can see what they were going for, but yeah, it probably would have been better to maybe get
someone
somebody
in.
else. Yeah, but I think he does the role well as well.
Oh, he does.
to
Yeah,
him.
no, he's a good actor, but as I says, he plays an arsehole and everything.
But I love that he's out here shooting this gun, and Carl is like, "Hey, stop shooting that gun!" And he just fires at him as well.
Poor old Carl has a rough all day, doesn't
He's
he?
a rotten day. He does. Poor fella, his car's in bits. It's been stolen by monkeys. Keeps running into this weird character that's obviously Alan, and every time he does, something bad happens to him.
Yeah, and he makes reference to it every time.
Yeah. But I like that Alan comes back and he jumps back in the window. He's lost, like he's managed to
Give him the slip.
give Van Pelt has no weapons anymore, so he has to go off to the shop.
I love that.
Give me these bullets. They stopped making those like 50 years ago. All right, I'll need a new gun. So
He puts the gun down and gives him like a sub-automatic machine gun.
he has these like gold coins. He's just like, close the door. Let's sell this lad whatever he wants.
Yeah, I love his little grunt.
Yeah. The next role is obviously goes on to Judy's role again here. She gets a stampede, and the little bird, the pelican, comes out, just picks up the game, and just off he goes with it.
I love how they're like it's a stampede.
Yeah,
just
Alan
tuck
just
in.
shouts it, stampede.
And nothing's happening. Like everything's gone by them. They're safe enough. Like,
Yeah, he gets into the side and it just runs straight through them.
yeah. And then they're like, then the pelican just stops, and you're like, no.
Takes it, and then they have to go chasing this pelican around now.
Oh, no, we missed one, didn't we? Out of the kids' row because he gets turned into a monkey.
No, that's a bit later because that's when they're out and about. They have to go out. They have to go out and get the game
Yeah.
back from the pelican now.
That's
So
right.
Alan
Yeah.
goes and chases it. Then they go and chase Alan, and
Yeah.
they find him at this stream where he gives the fish that he catches directly out of the stream. Just
Here.
I'll give you this, and the pelican knocks it into the water. And this is when Peter goes across the branch,
Oh yeah, he leans down. That's right. Yeah.
leans down, picks up the game, and Sarah and Judy are like, "Oh, well done, well done," and Peter's just like really chuffed with himself. And then Alan comes over and he goes, "Yeah, good job, let's go." And you can kind of see how his dad's rubbed off on him. Like he never got that affection from his dad, so he now feels that awkwardness of giving an affection to a male.
Yeah.
Any male, he feels very weird about the whole showing
male thing.
Yeah, like any sort of positive reinforcement of any male around him, he just doesn't really get it. But as they're walking back, Carl bumps into them again, and he's like, "Great, this time
on the side of the road, yeah.
This time you're getting in here with me." And it looks like he's going to kind of argue with him. Looks like he's going to, but then Alan hears the shots hitting the ground around him. Yeah, and he's like, "I better get in that car." He's like, I'll get in there. And he turns to them and he's like, "Van Pelt." Whispers it to them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
I love it. It's like it's a silence going on here.
Yeah.
So I'm getting in.
He gets in, and this is when Peter's like, opens the game and he looks and he's like, "Oh, I only need a 10." So he's like, "I'll try and roll a 12." Now, why he tried to roll a 12 is beyond me. He only needed 10 anyway.
Yeah, but he gets another go, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he only needed 10.
So. You can't finish on a double either.
I don't know if they say that, but why is he trying to roll a 12 anyway? You only need a 10. But he I kind of think this is a bit silly. I tried to roll a 12. Yeah, I don't see the problem with this.
He held the dice in the row. He tried to cheat.
Yeah, they say he tried to cheat, but when you're rolling dice, you're always trying to roll a specific number. I know what they're saying is that
he says he tried to do it in a way.
Yeah, but they don't everyone's trying to roll a certain number. The one thing here is that this is his second turn.
Third, no.
Well, third, because he rolled doubles. So he got 2 and then he got a 5. So he's rolled a 7. And this is his second turn. And he's like, "If I roll a 12, I can complete the game." And you're like, man, this game's really short.
Fucking dangerous as fuck, though.
It's very dangerous, but I mean, it's a very short game if you're getting to the end with less than 20. If you roll doubles and doubles, like 10, 10, game over.
It's all over, man.
No one else gets to play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, all right.
He starts turning into it gets the message of because you tried to, basically you tried to cheat, your time will start turning back for you. So he starts turning into a monkey because obviously humans evolved from gorillas and things like that is the idea. But they go into the town to make their way back, and Van Pelt the Stampede comes along, so they get split.
And then in the car, and he's under the pedals of the car.
Yeah, and he has the game, and Van Pelt comes over and he's like, "I'll have that because that's what Alan's gonna go for. So I'll take that, thank you."
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that.
See, that's the thing. Van Pelt just is there. He's just always there, which I know, he's a master tracker, but it's I don't know how you're tracking these people in this time.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, all right.
Yeah, but Van Pelt takes the game and he's like, "I'm going to get Alan to come to me now." And while all that's happening, Alan's in the car with Carl, and he's explaining to him. He's
and then you get that moment.
They called you the Soul Man, and Carl's like, "Jeez, yeah, they did call me the Soul Man. I remember."
I love it, and he just looks in the mirror and he's like, "It's me, Alan." He looks creepy as fuck.
Just jams on the brakes here.
Yeah,
what do you mean it's you, Alan? Yeah, what do you mean it's you, Alan? You've been dead for 26 years, kid.
Yeah, probably not, pal.
No, I've been trapped in the jungle, mate. But Van Pelt takes the thing, and we get the scene in the shop where everyone's looting and stuff, and they get the game back from Van Pelt, and he says to Sarah, he's like, "Alan's gonna come get you, so I'm gonna keep you." And then she manages to get the game to Judy, who is running along and has it in the trolley.
They're playing push pass.
Yeah, just keep it away. And then Peter's come up with this idea of
this is a genius. The 2 gas tanks,
the gas tanks, and it's like a blow up speedboat sort of thing.
Is it not a canoe?
No, it's like a speedboat sort of thing, and then gas canisters, and then he puts on the the welder's helmet and just hits them, just crashes through Van Pelt.
Does he hit them or doesn't he pull the weight bench?
He pulls the weight bench, which like knocks them, and then
and you just see him going.
And he's put this slippy stuff on, like he's put like
washing up liquid or something.
I don't know what it is, like detergent of some sort on the floor. Real green stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen detergent that vibrantly green.
And he ends up in the paint as well.
Yeah, he gets knocked back into the paint, and it looks like they're on their way. But Van Pelt corners them again, and you think, well, they're in trouble now because Van Pelt is after. He shoots the tires, or the thing holding up the tires, which then chases them down, and it looks like he's about to end them. But here comes Peter in the car, which he's handcuffed, or Alan in the car, which he's handcuffed Carl to.
Yeah, and it's just an old classic switcheroo.
Yeah, just drives straight in, knocks over the shelves onto Van Pelt, and like all these paint cans. How is that not hit
anybody that's looting?
Well, they all ran out when Van Pelt started firing the gun, I think, didn't they?
Yeah,
or
but
most of them do.
I'd still say there'd be people there, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, but like, I like that all of this stuff falls on him, and it's all paint cans and heavy stuff, and that knocks him out for a little bit, which is fair enough. Then he just wakes up a little while later, and he's just like, I know where they are. You're like, how are you not dead?
He obviously has a sense of the game or something.
Yeah, I think he's probably got a sense to Peter. Like he's part of the game. So when you play a video game, oh, I escaped him. How did he find me here? Well,
the NPC knows where you are.
Yeah, they just know, and like that's what he is. He's an NPC. Like but they get back to the house. But on the way, Alan has a little heart to heart with Peter. But at the start, it's
rips his tail out.
Yeah, but it's very, it's his dad talking to Peter the first time.
It's that same conversation.
Yeah, he's like, you need to man up, and you need to, do this, do that, and like stop crying and this, that, and the other. And then he's like, 26 years away from my dad, and I still turned into him. And he realized, and he's like, listen, nobody's mad at you. We'll get this sorted. And then Peter whispers something to him, and he's like, oh. And you're kind of like, what the hell is this kid after whispering? And he looks over at the two girls, and he's like, okay. And you're kind of thinking, is it that he's a young lad, and he's like, oh, I kind of fancy your one, Sarah. Obviously not the other one because it's sister. So you're just like, that must be what he's going to whisper here. Nope, tail.
Popped it out there. Great.
Yeah, just wander around with that tail now. You're sorted.
Imagine how uncomfortable that would have been.
Yeah, I'd imagine it wasn't very comfortable when it was just, tied up in his trousers like that. So I was wrecking him. But they get back, and the house is absolutely covered in vines. And Alan with the great line, I feel right at home here.
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is when, it's back to Sarah here. She rolls. Monsoon time.
A little rain never hurt nobody. No, but a lot can kill you.
Yeah. And he's not right. A lot could kill them.
His one-liners in this are brilliant.
The one thing here is with this monsoon comes the alligators.
Crocodile.
I think she calls them crocodiles, and he corrects her to say that they're alligators.
Yeah, well,
they are crocodiles, but he corrects her and says they're alligators.
Yeah, in the way the shape of the face is.
It's a crocodile.
Yeah.
That's what I thought for ages, and then he corrects her and says, no, that was an alligator.
Yeah, well, technically he is wrong, but he would be right in terms of being in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's probably just easier to just
go with it. I think it was just him trying to argue, basically.
Yeah, but I love this. Like, they get them up onto the chandelier and stuff. And then like, he dives back into the water to wrestle with them.
Yeah, it's just mental.
Yeah, and then obviously Carl and the ant. Carl has run into the ant on the way home, and his car has been sucked in by these vines and
he's like, hey, do you know I'm going over to that old parish place? Oh, that's my house.
Right. So off they go, and he's like, I've always wanted to do this, and it looks like he's going to shoot the door handle off.
Takes the gun out and everything. He's like,
the little drips of water start coming out, and he's like, what's going on here?
Stand back.
Just the whole place, like it just erupts out.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, like Peter's managed to keep hold of the game.
And you see, the funny thing here is that you see them going down on like the door, and the alligator, the crocodile, whatever they want to be, just goes by them, and they're like,
I love that she screams and he looks over and then he screams and his screams like he screams loads in this film and every time it's just so funny. Like I don't know, it's just his face, his expression.
The
It's just
one,
so funny.
the one that when he looks in the mirror and Alan's like, "It's me, Alan."
Yeah, it's the same thing all the time. It's just so he does it so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know they continue playing the game. They get up into the attic and he who rolls here now?
Alan.
Is it Alan rolls and
He gets the quicksand.
he gets the quicksand and he sinks through the thing. But
Floorboards and his face is just.
what I like here is that he sinks through those, but then later on we see that he's just, sunk down into the next part of the house. So if he'd gone through, if they just let him go through the whole way, he would have just been downstairs.
Yeah, but they didn't know that.
I know they didn't know it, but like you notice it. And to stop this happening,
they roll quickly.
Yeah, like they're like, right, we'll roll quickly to stop the quicksand, which seems to be the way it works. So Judy rolls and a load of spiders show up.
Yeah.
Like these look terrible.
What
to
was
be honest.
it? 8 legs, 8 eyes, 2 fangs, and something else.
Yeah, something about poison and stuff.
Yeah.
These look terrible. Like this is probably the worst animation in the film is these
Oh,
spiders.
they're desperate, yeah.
They look very bad.
The lion looks quality for the time.
Yeah, the lion looks brilliant. This is probably the worst of the animation. Everything else I actually think looks quite good.
The mosquito, apart from being 5 feet tall.
Yeah, but I think that's I think they wanted that to be the illusion.
Oh, yeah,
It was a massive thing.
But yeah, the monkeys were okay.
They're not awful. The spiders are by far the worst.
Yeah.
But I love that Peter says to Alan says to Peter, he's like, go and get the axe. My dad used to keep one out in the
shed.
So he runs down and he goes out to get the axe and like he looks at the shed and it's locked and he's like, crap, the shed's locked.
He tries to kick it.
Kicks it once or twice, doesn't work. So he picks up the thing next to it, starts hitting it, hits it once, hits it twice, and you're like, this kid has the axe. What's he doing? And after the third one, he looks at it in his own hands. And I love this because it's the only time they really break the fourth wall.
He just shakes his head.
He looks at it, shakes his head, and then looks at the camera to just like, just tell you, okay, yeah, I know I've been an idiot. And he turns around and rushes back in.
Yeah, I love it though. He's like, they're there swinging and he just keeps missing. These things are about 4 feet tall.
Yeah. But as he's running back, the ant is back in the house.
Isn't the thing? Sarah's arms are in the floor now as well.
Yeah, she's stuck in the floor as well.
Yeah.
But like as he runs back in, he sees the ant and she's like freaking out. She opens her bedroom door, big old lion in there. So he just he pushes her into this this closet
Nora.
thing. Just pushes her into the closet, locks her in. I'll explain later.
Sorry.
He runs up and he starts swinging the axe very wildly. Not great at all here.
These spiders are big too, like.
Yeah. So the next roll is his.
Yes. No, it would be Judy's.
No, because Judy rolls for the spiders.
Oh, the spider. Sorry, yeah. Alan or thing gets.
That's what I'm trying to remember here. What does he roll? He gets the vines. No, the earthquake. That's what it is, where the house splits
and Alan becomes free again.
No, wait, that's not him.
It is, yeah.
No, that's her, isn't it?
No, that's him.
No, I think Sarah rolls for that.
The earth
splits when Sarah rolls it, I think.
Or did Alan roll the double? Or did Ting roll the double?
No, because Judy
just watched this. I should know.
I think I did remember this where I was like, oh, does it just skip his turn?
Oh no, yeah, he misses a turn, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, because
he cheated.
No, what was it? No, he does roll. Sorry, he does roll, and what he rolls says something about. Oh no, sorry, he rolls the spiders because when Judy rolled, she rolled something about go back a turn. Her message was something to do with if you go back a turn.
Oh yeah.
So nothing kind of happened for hers. Then he rolls and the spiders show up. That's what it is, yeah. So they have to get the game over to Sarah now, and they put the dice in her mouth.
Put the dice in my mouth.
Oh no, she has one hand, doesn't she?
No, so she has 2 hands. So she's like this in the ground, holding Alan.
Yeah.
And so Alan's face is stuck. He's like, put the dice in your mouth.
Yeah, so she spits the dice into the game, and splits the game. Like they think she needs like a 5 or something. She rolls like a 3, and they're
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, it's never gonna end.
The
And
earthquake comes then, and
I don't know if it's an earthquake. It's just like the earth just splits. It's not an actual
well,
quake or
yeah.
anything. It just splits.
Well, it does state that the earth will quake.
Yeah, but there doesn't seem to be much. Like
And
the
Alan
spiders all run up,
falls,
falls down, but he manages to keep a hold of the game.
and the vine.
Yeah, that's how he's swinging on the vine. The line is over there, and he's like, oh,
He does the old Tarzan, doesn't he?
yeah. But he has the dice in his hands, and Van Pelt shows back up, and he's like, "That's it, game over." And he's like, "Drop whatever you have." So Alan just drops them, and you see the first dice drops, and it rolls a 1.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, that is not good. You are in a lot of trouble here."
He needs a 5.
Well, they're also in trouble here because Judy has been shot by the poison vines, so she can't roll her next roll.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, "We need to end here."
We missed a bit where the plant comes out of the fireplace, didn't we?
Yeah, and it shoots Judy.
No, but the big one that tries to eat her.
No, that's the big one tried to eat. That's early on. That one tries to eat Peter.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
sorry,
the
that's what
purple one.
dragged him. That's the dragged him across. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
But he, his dice is like dropping down, 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 and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen here?
And it
And it
stops, and it rolls, and it keeps going.
It eventually hits a 5, but while that's rolling, I love that Van Pelt is like, have you got any last words? And
Alan just knows.
the character automatically moves, so he looks down.
Jumanji.
And he's Jumanji. And that's the only, I don't like that because it's meant to be call out the game's name. He just kind of whispers it.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's nothing to say that you have to scream it out.
No, but they said call out the game's name. I think it would have been better if they had him, whisper it. Well, if he whispers it, and then when Van Pelt goes, huh? He shouts it.
Yeah. And then like Van Pelt shoots.
Yeah, Van Pelt shoots.
I love how this is done now. And the game starts.
Yeah, it's right up at his head, and it just starts to fade away. And Van Pelt looks really confused.
Yeah.
And then
you just know.
every you see like him getting sucked towards the game, and then you see the elephants getting sucked back into it.
Yeah.
The mosquitoes, everything gets sucked back into the game, and then the last bit is Van Pelt's head just kind of stuck there. Oh!
And he's gone.
But he gets sucked down into it, yeah. And then we return back to 1969, and we see Alan and Sarah, both kids, and they're like, his dad comes back in, and Alan's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean what I said, and actually I need to tell you that it was me that put that run on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, and he's like, well, it's only been 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I like that, here he's learned, to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to cover for Carl here.
Yeah.
So who knows what Carl went on to do, but presumably,
he went on to be a cop.
No, well, presumably he goes on to be a big salesman because, the shoe he creates is basically the modern day runner.
Yeah, and it looks perfect. Looks like a pair of Jordans, doesn't it?
Yeah, so presumably he goes on, he gets to show them the actual thing instead of getting fired. He gets to show them it, and they go on to make multi-millions,
Yeah.
Because business, he's still in the shoe business all those years later when he's an adult.
Yeah, and the town is prospering.
Yeah, I do like that they go off here and they're like, right, we better throw this game. So they just hoof it into a river.
Yeah, it's just
or a lake or whatever it is, just hoofed in there. And this is, they obviously they go on to be childhood sweethearts, get married, and she's heavily pregnant. And I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if they're going to go with the idea that
the two kids are there.
I was wondering the first time not the first time I watched it, because I obviously wouldn't really have been thinking about it back then, but when I rewatched it, I was like, I wonder, was the plan ever to have the Jack or to have Judy and Peter be their kids?
That would have been the way to do the second one.
That's how you would have continued it, because they then find the game and they bring it home and they start playing, and the parents are like, no, don't play that.
Idiots.
But they've already rolled. And I was thinking maybe that's where they're going to go. But obviously they don't. Peter hires some guy who's in marketing, which he's been told when he visits his parents back in 1990. Well, I say back, but like it's in the future.
It's now 95.
Yeah, but he visits his parents when they were dead, when he was an old man, and he's like, oh well, you see, he gets explained to him like, our parents were in marketing, our dad was in marketing, and this, that, and the other. So he hires him, And they're like, well, we're thinking about going for a skiing holiday.
No.
But
okay, we can start tomorrow.
Yeah, but he does, mention, they're like, oh no, we know the kids because you've told us so much about them and this, that, and the other. And it's like, it's a bit weird that you know that much about their kids.
You must be Peter and you must be Judy.
Yeah, and the kids don't remember them at all, which is the one thing I do like about the newer one, where the kids and the adult do remember each other. It's a little bit different because obviously that's in a video game.
Yeah.
So I can see where but I think that's a better ending, is having them remember each other, even if Judy and Peter only remember them as, oh, I know them, but don't remember how they know them.
Yeah, I've met you before.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good way to.
The only thing I will say, I said to you before we came on, it does kind of break that time travel rule.
Yeah, well, also his parents are still alive.
Yeah, but so that might be before, because they're generally about to go skiing. So that'd probably be the week beforehand, say.
Yeah, but his parents are meant to have died in 91.
Who, Alan's?
Yeah.
Alan's parents aren't there already.
No, but that's who he's on the phone to. Because he says, I'll see.
Oh, yeah, but see, they said that he put all his money and all into trying to find Alan. He just gave up. So he wouldn't have given up.
Exactly, yeah, but his parents died in 91 in the original part of it. So the timeline has already changed because his parents are still alive. Like.
Yeah, well, he hadn't gone, so.
Yeah, exactly. So it has changed. Presumably, Carl's not a police officer.
Carl's a big time Wilf Chamberlain runner guy.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows? But yeah, he does change the timeline here again by not letting them go skiing.
Yeah.
Which maybe is the way it should have gone. Maybe, if they let them go skiing and then they adopt the two children, maybe that's how because you were saying that there was originally a plan
for a second one.
And I presume that the plan would probably have been to somehow have Judy and Peter play the game.
Allegedly, now, from what I can see around, only about 10 to 12 people actually got to read the script. And when Robin Williams read it, he just went, no, not having that.
No, and I presume that's what they were going to do. It was going to be the kids played the game, and somehow Alan and Sarah got dragged into it, or their kid plays it or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or they get it as a present or something.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad they didn't go with that. I'm glad that Robin Williams shoots it down, because this film didn't need a second.
It also shows his mentality to movies, that he didn't just want to make money.
Anything. Yeah, well, you see,
280 million, he said this made. What would the second one have made?
Yeah, but like before this, he had taken a few stinkers on.
Yeah.
And then now he's obviously learned and he knows his value, and he's getting better at reading scripts and going, yeah, this will be a good one. But the film ends with Jumanji getting washed up on a beach somewhere with the drums playing again.
Yeah.
So it did always leave itself open to be.
Oh yeah, it would always
continued.
Set up another one.
It was always left to be continued as another one. But I like how it went about.
Yeah, it was perfect.
It ends. Yeah. And like it's a good ending to it, and then obviously they've now made newer ones, which I quite enjoy.
I did enjoy. Now I enjoyed the first one more than I enjoyed the second one.
Yeah, well, I think that was always going to be the way. It's easier to do the first one and
anything with Jack Black is gold.
Yeah, and The Rock and Kevin Hart. It's.
Well, I think they casted that perfectly.
Oh, they did it very well. Yeah, I think I think it is very good. It's a very good continuation, and I was glad it was a continuation rather than a remake.
Well, as we said, I think it was originally tipped as a remake, and The Rock went, "Nah, I'm not having that.
I'm not having a film by my name that says that wasn't as good as Rob Williams' one."
The Rock doesn't put his name to bad movies. Oh wait, no, I can't say that either.
No, there's been a few bad ones, but you'd have to be a brave man to think you could, step into the shoes of Robin Williams.
He's not even the same kind of character. Like even Kevin Hart, as good a comedian as he is,
it's a very different. Yeah, it's very different. The one thing I do like about the new one, and it's not like we don't normally not talk about new films here, but I like in the new one that he obviously one guy has gotten trapped in the video game for years.
Eggs, yeah.
But it has, who's Alan Parrish?
Yeah, there's little tips to all of it in it.
I did like that they had that little throwback.
There was another piece that one of them's wearing a pair of runners and it has Parrish shoes on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of little throwbacks, and I did think that was very, very good in it.
I did when we seen it in the cinema. I seen who's Alan Parrish. I was like, they did do it.
I don't know if they say Parrish actually. They definitely say who's Alan, and he goes, I don't know.
No, I think they do say Alan Parrish or who's AP.
Yeah,
like that.
They definitely say Alan, and you're like, the other guy's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which why would he know? I suppose.
It was
But,
a little tip to the cartoon show they did as well, because the way that sort of little place that he was living was set up
yeah,
was very
I
similar to the cartoon.
I liked that cartoon now, to be fair, and
That was a good crack, actually.
that
Yeah,
was a little bit different because the kids obviously always get sucked into the game,
yeah,
and
awful, isn't it? The
then
worst players ever.
he helps them solve their riddle each time,
Yeah,
and then they get out. But the problem is he doesn't know his riddle, so it's a different concept to the film.
yeah.
But I actually thought it was really good as
But
well.
like that, like little treetop place that he was living in is set up like that in the show,
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah,
it's a very nice little Easter egg. But
we better leave it there.
yeah, that's it for this week. We'll be continuing on with another Robin Williams 90s film
We're not going to tell
next
you what
week.
it is yet. You'll
Well,
have to tune in to find out.
yeah, you'll have to tune into the next episode to find out. But until then, good luck.